distinctions, and that's, I think, where there might be some sweet spot that we can collaborate on as you all deem appropriate. Though those are uh, Venn diagram overlapping groups. They are separate documents and serve separate purposes. What we do is we come out when courts request, and we are free to the courts, other than the time that they're going to invest on their side. Though we come out and work with the requesters or sponsors, if you will, of different efforts to facilitate planning workshops with the appropriate stakeholders and tabletop exercises. We can also work with them on more operations-based drills and functional exercises, though those are more complex and really someone needs to be a champion in theater, geographically, wherever some of that's going to happen. Though we can certainly support from an advise perspective and come out there. We come to you all unless someone wants something fully virtual. Just here's a little snapshot of where we have been in 2025, and the lapse in funding unfortunately negatively impacted us. I'm a visual learner, so you can see that a lot of it is are places that really focus or are impacted by natural hazards. So the folks along the coast and some other folks there in the Michigan down to Alabama, a lot of people that reach out to us are focusing more on natural hazards and active shooter or civil unrest, First Amendment activities that get out of hand on occasion, which unfortunately we're experiencing. Um, if you haven't been a part of a tabletop exercise, one that we did in Boston with 6 judges, including the chief judge of the district and the First Circuit, they wanted to understand how an active shooter scenario would unfold. So we had 6 judges, key judges that had roles in the occupant emergency plan. We had the leadership from the U.S. Marshal Service in that district. We had the FBI Senior Supervisor Special Agent in charge and the crisis team lead for FBI, Boston Police, Boston Fire, Boston EMS, all the clerks, all the CUEs, rather, at the table. And we walked through from the initiation, well, educated them on exactly what their plan says and their threat assessment, and then walked through a scenario and followed the bouncing ball so that they had some actionable steps to improve their associated plans and some training. And now they're in a better position. And since they've had us back and we're going back again. In 26, here is where we're going. I need to add, looks like Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Puerto Rico. Judge Caban down there has reached out just this week, and so we'll be going down there. My point in sharing that is, while everyone has in the past largely viewed our exercises or our team as supporting natural hazard preparedness plus civil unrest and active shooter, you all, and I have become very aware in the last year, are critical. The systems side is critical. And I personally feel, from an emergency management lens or preparedness lens, maybe my team hasn't engaged well enough and been there to support you all. So I've heard from some of the deputy clerks that there's a desire to maybe have us out and help build some planning workshops and facilitate and some associated tabletop exercise with appropriate stakeholders, focusing on some scenarios of interest, which I've heard might be CMECF going down. Data center failover issues, which we did a large exercise last June in San Antonio, thanks to wonderful Jorge Madeira and some other folks, and ransomware. So there's all sorts of thematic aspects that, if you all have a need and desire, I would encourage you to work with your court unit executives and reach out to me or our team, and I'm happy to collaborate on that and see what y'all are seeking and how maybe we can support, and through the kind of the normal processes, see how we can come out and support you all. So in other words, help me help you. Another aspect, just put this here for some links for y'all to, if you're really interested. We developed some education awareness products highlighting some of the issues here. The occupant emergency plan video, I'm a fan of, though I'm biased. So please feel free to click and increase your awareness and help understand some of what we can do and where you might want to leverage us. And again, if there's some information products that y'all in DTS want us to maybe collaborate on, I'm all ears. We also lead the Judiciary what has been the Judiciary Automated External Defibrillator Program, AEDs. You may see them on the walls. Here's just some statistics from the last 2 fiscal years. I want to call out an incident that happened just in October. A attorney was walking through security, had a cardiac incident. Fortunately, he survived, and there's a little news story. You can click on the link and watch it. It's, I think, 2.5 minutes. Great news story. Though, want to flag for you all the guard desk, that location where they picked up that phone and dialed 911. Because it was a voice over IP phone in the Nashville courthouse. And I don't know exactly what did or didn't get set up properly initially, though the 911 center that answered was in Denver, Colorado. So when they began trying to request, appropriate emergency medical services resources, they had trouble. They were kind of talking past each other because they were like, we don't have a street, we don't have a courthouse at that location. And then they realized, oh goodness, I'm talking to someone in Denver, Colorado. Hung up, used his personal cell phone. So if it's happened in if it's happened in Nashville, Tennessee, it's possible that maybe there are other courthouses where that is the case, or other judiciary facilities. So just want to flag for y'all one way that, if interested, that y'all can encourage folks to check that. I believe if you dial 933 from those guard desk phones, or ask the guards to do that, that it will test or provide the status of where that phone is mapped to for the enhanced 911 status. Just sharing for your awareness, in case you want to encourage folks to check on that at your facility and those that you're responsible for. Our judiciary security officers are going to be bringing that incident in a favorable light. It's a lesson learned, and we can all benefit from it, up to the judges that lead the facility security committees at all the courthouses, at least. So I just wanted to flag that for you. And we're evolving to a safety station program to be in line with best practices from GSA and HHS, to where as soon as we announce, which hopefully I'm going to do in the next couple weeks, in a broadcast memo to all the clerks and all the chief judges, an evolution to safety stations. So not only will they be AEDs, they'll also be opioid reversal agents, or a lot of us know it as Narcan, and bleeding control components. A lot of us know it as Stop the Bleed kits, which my team, we fund and ship out with a vendor of ours. Lastly, want to highlight the Judiciary Emergency Response Team. Here's a bit just for y'all to reference of what the Judiciary Emergency Response Team can do. I have the privilege and responsibility of leading the group. The Deputy Director of the AO, Leanne Bennett, is the chair, or the Deputy Director of the AO is always the chair, and that's Leanne Bennett. We pull together leadership from GSA, Federal Protective Service, the Marshal Service, and others as needed from the executive branch, and at the headquarters and regional level. The primary audience, at least from my perspective, is the chief judge and the court unit executives, and we want to work whatever problem that they need. Oftentimes, it's a natural hazard. In the past, it's been Super Typhoon Mawar in Guam, Asheville, North Carolina during Hurricane Helene, the wildfires in Los Angeles, and there's always policy questions. There's always resource requests. We can work that efficiently. My point in flagging that is, I know that you all have a complex universe in the IT space, though if there is ever truly an incident where anyone needs true help and coordination, the Judiciary Emergency Response Team exists to serve as that central component, and the leadership from DTS and others are on the line and poised to support. Lastly, just wanted to flag, I mentioned our Judiciary Security Officers. We have 16 folks, they're GS-14 equivalents, former law enforcement for the most part. A lot of them are former marshals that are responsible for a portion of a geographic circuit, and they regularly work with the chief judges and circuit executives, chief judges of the district and the circuit executives, and the clerks of district court, but certainly all the CUEs. And later on, I have the same visual without our JSO stuff, just because I think it's a nice visual. We do all this with a team of 4, myself being one of the 4. One just retired. It's been a wave of that at the AO, though hopefully one day I'll get a backfill. And help me help you. I'm here to support you all. I don't know exactly the demand signal, or if anyone truly gives a darn, though I've heard that some people might, and some people might be reaching out. So wanted to put it out there and make sure that you all are aware from leveling the bubble, so to speak, of who I am, who we are, and how potentially we can support you all. So that completes my brief. Any questions? Happy to help. Over.
Hey Wayne, it's Omar. Thanks for your presentation. When we were, planning and meeting and discussing all this, one of the things that you highlighted was uh, just how you all really meet where the courts are when it comes to disaster recovery policy and everything else. And I thought that was a good highlight. So could you just talk to the audience a little bit about there's no gotcha, truly here to support, and really coming to you from no matter where they are, whether they have policy plans in place, whether they're mature, immature, all of that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Omar. So to clarify, at least in the emergency management space, um, and I probably shouldn't mention this with nearly 500 people online, we have no teeth. We're here to help. We are absolutely here to support you all. It's a requirement that each facility have an occupant emergency plan. It's a requirement that each district has a continuity of operations plan. It's there's not really a lot of guidance on how often that should be updated and by whom and to what degree and the rigor that it's gone through. We come out to any court unit that raises their hand, so to speak. And by raises their hand, I mean reaching out to me or my team and saying, "Hey, we want your help." Obviously, we can't go to small groups of 4Z, 5Z in 94 districts times 4 court units. There's not enough on our team. However, when we come out, and we will help with all of the lead up and the thinking and sharing examples and build up, and then construct a discussion to get at the the preferred objectives, um, leading questions and whatnot in a constructive manner, no gotchas. And we will encourage whoever the sponsor is and others from their vantage point to designate someone to take notes, and then for that core group to get together to work whatever problems are identified. Though we do not um, take notes in a sense of bringing it back to the AO or saying, hey, this district is near 100% and whatever that might mean in a particular case, and this one is 25%. So goodness, they really need some help. We're not telling on anybody. We're not playing gotcha. We're not telling any other district what some other district did poorly. We do share examples uh, for constructive purposes of, hey, this is something that should we encourage folks to do. Though hopefully, Omar, that's in the realm of what you were thinking that we talked about. We are not playing gotcha. We physically come out. It's my travel money for my team to come out. It's our staff. It doesn't cost the court that is requesting us to come out anything other than they need to reserve some space in their own facilities. They need to take their time to engage, and certainly there needs to be at least one person who is going to be the champion, if you will, of the effort that we are supporting. And oftentimes that's at the request, even though they might initiate it themselves, given support and at the request of um, one of the court unit executives, and a lot of times a judge, whether it's the judge that leads the facility security committee or a chief judge or someone in that realm, usually is engaged. Sometimes it's actively supporting it, and sometimes it's they're aware of and they don't have a problem with it happening. It's all over the map. Though, I mean, y'all have a huge problem set. I mean, there's 32,000 judiciary employees and I think more than 700 facilities occupying about 3,000, more than 3,000 floors, um, across 56 states and territories, with 94 districts that are each by design with relatively independent decision-making authority on what they're going to do and exactly how they're going to do it. And then we overlay the circuits in the districts and lifetime appointments of 2,400 judges. So it's complicated. Y'all are supporting that. We're supporting that, and here to help. So I'll try to address questions without taking up, I know y'all are short on time, in the chat. Though Stephanie, Omar, any others?
Thank you, Wayne.
All right, looks like I only see one question, Wayne, in the chat, which was about requesting briefings, or do you all also provide additional sessions throughout the year? So if you can either answer that now or respond to it in the chat, that'd be great.
Sure, just briefly, and then I'll also put it in the chat. I'm happy to speak at almost anything, virtually or in person. Um, you know, you call, I haul. Like I'm here to support you all. Though we are working with our judiciary security officer, and even though we speak regularly at large conferences the judiciary has, and within each court unit, almost every time there's at least one person in relative leadership that says, I didn't even know y'all existed. I didn't even know that we could reach out to you all. And sometimes that's how we get business. I mean, it's partly sales, to be quite honest. We're here to help. And so please reach out to me directly. You have my contact information. If not with a Machiavellian sense, though, if people have a particular outcome that they want highlighted, or try to work towards rather with a particular audience, and it makes sense, happy to work that as well in whatever briefing or actual engagement. So hopefully that's helpful.
That's perfect. Thanks so much, Wayne. And then one other question just popped in. Is there a maximum number of folks for the workshops that you guys recommend? Or is it
No,
just
right, sorry. So an example of a larger one that we don't have time to go down the rabbit hole of, and I don't think is the focus, but in as far as an exercise, one of the more complicated that we did in recent history was in June in San Antonio, where there was an data center failover scenario, and we had each of the circuits present with basically two perspectives from each circuit, someone who had the IT perspective and someone who had the operations perspective. Oftentimes that was a clerk or deputy clerk of fill in the blank, whether it was a circuit or